Okay, so we're going to be starting. We're going to be starting the last lecture that we have for this course, and it covers, again, it's a continuation of ethics. Excuse me, and it will span across the topics of reproductive health, pediatric, and adolescent ethical issues. So the first thing they have over here is they talk about, again, reproductive health. So again, reproductive health is a state of complete physical, mental, as well as social well-being with respect to all matters that are relating to the reproductive system and its functional process. Okay, this is what reproductive health is. The next thing that we have is personhood. All right, so how do we define personhood? So personhood, it's referring to the capacity that a human being to have a complex form of consciousness. Okay, that's what it is. So personhood, again, it is it denotes the capacity that humans have for complex forms of consciousness. This is what personhood refers to. So when we're looking at this, the general global reproductive issues, what they're referring to is they're talking about the nature of general global reproductive issues, right? And again, the vast majority, especially of unresolved global reproductive issues, ends up causing millions of men, of women, and young people to suffer at different levels, at all types of levels. The potentiality view. This means that a fetus from, well, you don't even call it. So from the time of conception, again, you're talking about the zygote, okay, the zygote that develops into an embryo, and then that embryo develops into a fetus. So again, what they're saying is, again, from the time of conception, it possesses the potential to be a person with the same rights and protections that people that are already born have themselves. So that's what this potentiality view means, that from the time of conception, that individual should have the same rights that a person who's already on this planet should have. This is what again, ethically, morally, this is what the position is. This position is defined as, at least. Now, when you talk about biological view, now the biological view, this is that, again, a single cell zygote doesn't come into being until that cell has completed the division process, right? And then at that time, that entity becomes an individual human organism, right? So again, until that cell, that single cell zygote, turns into a multicellular being, entity at that point, that's when it's considered to be human. All right, this is the biological view on, yeah, that's what it is. So what they're saying is that a sperm and an egg by itself is not considered to be human until that sperm and egg come together and they unite, and then they start to divide. That's what it means. Okay. Now, the next thing that's listed over here would be the interest view. Now, so the interest view, again, as it says, it requires a being to have the rights and interests at stake. So what they're saying is that that being has an interest at any given if that person has an interest in something, then those interests, they have to matter morally to that person. And that person has to be, again, cognizant enough to know what could be done to it. So again, the key point is that without an interest, that, without some level of interest, then rights, they can't be assumed. Okay, so rights can be assumed unless you have an interest. This is what the interest view. This is what this means. This is that position. All right. So next, we talk about this maternal. So the right to life versus bringing harm. The right to life versus bringing harm. And again, the maternal fetal conflict. So again, this ethical issue, it relates to every individual's right to life versus the possibility of bringing some level of harm to a person when treating the other of the two biologically connected persons. This is what this is talking about. So again, pretty much what it's saying is that well, let me see what you guys have to say. Who can comment? Who can give an example of this issue? Raise your hands and I'll let you answer. Who can give an example of this? Gelato boy, how about you? Any idea? Gelato boy, you still haven't gotten your real name up there. Okay, go ahead. You can answer, please.
Sir,
yes.
My name is there. Like,
why is it Gelato boy?
No. The first name. I've been trying to change it, but I don't know what's going
on.
Sir?
Yes, I know, but Gelato boy. Or anyways, now you're known as Gelato boy, infamously. Go ahead. Tell me. Can you give an example of this?
Right to life. I don't have an idea, sir.
Oh, okay. All right. Anybody else? Glory, go. Glory put her hand down. I guess Glory got scared. Oh, Glory's back. Okay, Glory, what do you think? Glory? Glory doesn't want to talk anymore.
No. The mic is having an issue.
All right, tell me, what do you think?
So the right to life, like allowing someone to live, and giving them the basic necessities of life.
Right. But how about, again, the right to life versus bringing harm?
Bringing harm, bringing harm in the sense of depriving someone maybe of oxygen.
Sir, I think I have an idea now.
Yes, okay, tell me.
Based on the concept of maternal to fetal conflict.
Yes.
I think it's a situation when you either have to save the mother or the child.
Very good. Okay. Yeah. Excellent point. Very good.
So you have to make a decision between the child or who has better chances of surviving.
Not necessarily survival, but okay, this is what they're saying. So again, what consequences would treating one of the two? So again, you have two biologically connected persons, right? Infant and mother, they're both connected biologically through the umbilical cord, correct? So if the mother eats fruits, the child gets the fruits as well. Okay, those of you, obviously not Gelato, but who may have had a child or who may have been pregnant, you know that, when you eat something sweet, and again, you have a baby inside of your belly, that baby is going to start kicking, all right? When he or she tastes that sugar. Again, why? Because both mother and baby are connected. They're biologically connected. So what this is saying is this. If the mother needs something, she is sick. For example, the mother has very high, all right, here, let me give another example, a little bit easier. Mother falls down, or she's walking outside, and again, somebody opens the door and hits her in her hand really hard, and mother gets hurt. Her arm's hurting a lot, she's crying. Maybe her hand is broken. She needs an x-ray. But if she gets an x-ray, that baby's going to be exposed to a lot of radiation. So does the mother go and get an x-ray, right, to figure out if she has a fracture versus not doing it? So what's the level of harm to that child for the mother being treated? This is what they're trying to say, right, by this. Again, mother and baby, they're both biologically connected individuals. And the benefit that one of them may get could possibly cause harm to the other, right? This is essentially what this is referring to. So, that moves on to, this next part is maternal fetal conflict. So again, when a pregnant woman's interest conflicts with the interest of her fetus, then we call this a maternal fetal conflict, okay? So when the pregnant woman's interest conflicts with the interest of her fetus, again, this is a maternal fetal conflict. Now, again, who is it? So the other question to this would be this, all right? And this is a very important point. When a pregnant woman's interest conflicts with the interest of her fetus, who do you listen to? Who defines what that interest is? So is it the mother saying, oh, it's my interest, or is it the father, or is it the nurse? No, that will be defined by that woman's physician, by the gynecologist. They will define that, okay? Mother, it's not according to what the mother says, the father says, or grandmother, grandfather, no, according to what the physician says. Moving along to mothering. So again, I'm no fan of Dalai Lama. I think it's ridiculous, this Dalai Lama, whatever. He may have said a couple nice things, but anyways, Dalai Lama, whoever wrote this book must have been crazy about Dalai Lama, or they're probably from California. So according to Dalai Lama, compassion is defined as a desire to separate another being from suffering, right? So Dalai Lama says compassion is a desire to separate another being from suffering. Could be a cat, could be a dog, could be a mouse, could be a human, could be a boy, could be a girl, okay? So again, so what this is saying is this over here, mothering. So persons with a well-developed level of compassion include in the scope of their compassion even those beings who may harm them. Let me see. Okay, so who can comment on this? What do you guys think this means? Who wants to give it a try? Blessing. How about blessing? Glory. Oh.
Sir, like a mother. like
Go ahead.
our own mother that gave birth to us.
Give an example.
An example of a mother.
Yeah, this one. What do you think? Okay, this slide. What do you think this means? Can you give an example of this slide? Persons with a well-developed level of compassion include in the scope of their compassion even those beings who may harm them.
A father can also have mothering characteristics, not necessarily like a female person.
Okay, all right. Mr. Gelato, how about you?
I think when a person, it mustn't necessarily be mother, I feel, but when someone is like so compassionate, like they don't put in considerations of what is gonna happen after they do or they perform that act of kindness to someone, but they just do it because that's who they are. That's what I
Okay,
feel.
all right, very good. My dream. My dream ran away. Ahmad, go ahead, Ahmad.
Yes, doctor. Is it like when the mother give birth of a new
Okay.
child?
Yes.
It's like this.
Okay, very good, excellent, very good, right? You show compassion to that fetus, even though, again, it could possibly kill the mother, right, during birth. All right, very good, excellent. I can see that. My dream, let's go, my dream, we'll see. Go ahead. Ahmad, you went. I guess my dream got scared and ran away. Okay, all right. All right, so we'll go with that. I guess nobody else wants to go. Rehan, go ahead. Okay.
Hello?
Hello, yes, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I think each mother has a hormone of feeling good for their child because they burn them and should they like their own body, thinking like own body. That's why
Okay. Good.
they love them.
Yes, yes, probably that, and hormones as well. All right, okay, I guess so. I will never know. I'm not a mother. I think that's only for a woman who gives birth to know, fully understand. Blessing, go ahead. Blessing? Okay, let's move along then. Blessing, change your mind. All right. So how do you define mothering persons? Well, let's look into this now. So mothering persons, right? It's not necessarily a woman. So now, according to again, going back to this Dalai Lama guy, mothering persons could be a male, they could be a female, okay? Essentially, what they're saying is that a mothering person is anybody that shares unconditional compassion toward their children. Okay, essentially that's what it is, right? Mothering person, it could be, again, anybody. There could be a male, there could be female, who share unconditional compassion towards their children. That's what that is. Mothering person is. Now let's talk about school laws, right? And some of the things that happen over there. So depending on where you are in the world, so if you're in the United States, you're talking about different states. Every state, they have their own autonomy to a certain level, okay, in the United States. Now, every state is independent in the United States. They're all together, okay, again, they're united because they formed a union of states, right? This is how, you guys, this is what the basis for the United States is. But at the same time, each state is independent of one another, right? So they have their own laws. So how could you, I don't know any other place in the world like that. I don't know too many different countries. Well, most countries are not as big as the USA. But for example, Turkey. Turkey has many, many, many different provinces. They don't have states, but different provinces. I don't know if the laws are different in each province. Are there any Turkish people here? Yannick, Ahmet?
Yes, I am.
Oh, of course, my dream is Turkish. And Buse is Turkish, and Beyza Nur. So are all the laws the same? So for example, if you go to Manisa, or you go to Adana, or you go to, I don't know, Ankara, or if you go to Cardiff, are all the laws the same? Anybody able to, Turkish person able to answer that? Okay, Turkish, I guess not. Turkish people don't know their laws. All right, Silin Shabazz, Sena Olcay. Nobody knows. Nobody's raising their hand. Silin? Sena? Okay, I guess they don't know. All right. So if they're not here, they're absent.
Sir,
Yes.
I can't hear you. Can you repeat it? The question.
I said essentially what I said was that if you go from different provinces in Turkey, are all the laws the same? So again, if you're in Izmir province, or you're in Edirne province, or Izmir, or Kuşadası, or Antalya, or Adana, Manisa, are all the laws the same?
Yes, yes. When we go there, is
They're
there
very different.
there are lots of the laws the same.
Are the laws that are different also? A lot of the laws are the same. Are there anything that's different?
No, maybe traditional ways, including.
Right, but again, laws, no, laws are the same. So in the United States, what's different is that, again, in each state, the laws are slightly different. They may have a little bit different laws over there. Okay, that's just how it is over there. It's not completely uniform. Therefore,
No, it's not different.
yeah, okay.
All the citizens are like Istanbul, but they are maybe different, maybe way, but all, for example, in a hospital the same. When I go to hospital now, they
Right.
are should looking me. They are should see me, and also when I go to my hometown,
Right.
there is also when I sick, I go the hospital. They are looking me the same.
Okay.
There's nothing for
All
anything different.
right. Okay. Good. Good. Very good. Good to know. Mert Yildirim, can you add something to that? Mert? I guess not. Mert is not here also. Murat Bey, Murat Basharan? Murat? Not here. Okay, so this is an issue, huh? All right. Okay. So in the USA, all right, so the states, they vary in regards to their laws, as I said. In this context, now, when we take this into the context of this lecture, why is that important? Well, it's important because when it comes to childhood vaccinations, it's not uniform from one state to the next, to the next, to the next, right? So certain states, they say that you have to have all the vaccines in order to be able to go to school. Every child needs to have it. Other states say, no, if you want, you can do it. If you don't, then you don't have to, but you can still come to school. However, every state, they do allow vaccination exemptions for medical reasons. All right. If you have some type of, if you have a, a legitimate medical reason, then you could be exempt from receiving these vaccinations and still be able to come to school. Right. So again, it depends on the state. And when we take this at a global level, I have no idea what the law is in Turkey. Perhaps every child needs to be immunized in order to go to school in Turkey, or perhaps it's optional. If you want, you can. If you don't want to have the vaccines, you don't have to, but you can still come to school. Every part of the world is going to be different. But again, for medical reasons, they do allow exemptions. In addition to medical reasons, allowing exemptions for medical reasons, the United States so far goes further, and I think this is wonderful. But they also give religious exemptions as well. Okay, religious exemptions are allowed by all states, with the exception of two. In the United, all but 2 states, they don't have religious exemptions. All right. Some states are very lean. Some states are so lean that 19 of them, they allow exemptions based on personal beliefs. Okay. They can also, again, in addition to religious, they can give it exemptions based on philosophical reasoning and other non-medical objections that people may have to vaccines. You have to make a case. And again, if it's kind of makes sense to them, if they agree with you, if you can convince them, then they will allow it. So again, there's flexibility. It's not very strict in 19 of these states. They're a little bit more liberal, I guess. They're not as rigid or conservative. So when exemptions are obtained, again, children, they can attend school without being immunized. With that said, depending on where you are, the parent or guardian, they could be held liable if another child were to get sick because of that child not being immunized. All right. All right. So when we're looking at health risks to newborns, all right, how do you minimize health risks to newborns? Well, that happens again. One, for example, the quality of care that's received during pregnancy. All right. Another one, the safe delivery of a child by a skilled nurse, by a skilled midwife, by a skilled physician, okay, by a skilled attendant. Let's just put it that way. It's even easier to say. So yeah, let's define it as that. You end up minimizing risks by having a skilled birth attendant present during delivery. In addition to that, having strong neonatal care. So again, newborns, all right? Neonate. Neo means new, nate means born, new birth. All right. So immediate attention to breathing issue, all right? To ensuring warmth to that child after it's born. Having hygiene in skincare of that child. Hygiene when it comes to cutting the umbilical cord. Hygiene when it comes to breastfeeding. All these things, again, they will decrease or minimize the health risks to newborns. Now, hold on, what time is it? So, just a minute, 1 second, please. All right, sorry about that. So, let's look at all right, yes, we looked at that. Moving along, all right. So, from 1 month to 5 years of age, the main cause of death in this age group is pneumonia, right? Next one would be diarrhea. Another one, malaria, and also measles, right? So if you can decrease the risk of pneumonia, diarrhea, malaria, and measles, then again, you decrease the fatality in this age group. Malnutrition also, malnutrition is estimated to contribute to more than, this is so sad, more than 1/3 of all deaths in children is related to malnutrition, just because they can't get food that's high in nutrients, not even high, that has sufficient nutrients. 1 in 3 children will die, a third. Okay, 1/3 of children that die, they die because of malnutrition. All right. All right, moving along. The other thing is child abuse. All right, child abuse comes in many different forms. Okay, there's physical abuse, there's sexual abuse, emotional abuse. Aside from that, there's also neglect. Okay, this is all a form of violence. Okay, again, think of this as could be considered as a part of family violence as well. Now, what are the standard of best interest? Did we get to this one? Oh, no, I think we skipped one. 1 minute. Child abuse. Children are, okay, ethical responsibility of nurses, there we go. So ethical responsibility of nurses. So all right. In the care of children, the ethical responsibility of nurses, they include the responsibility to be alert to the signs of abuse and to report them, right? So the nurse needs to be alert to the signs of abuse and to report them. Along with other healthcare professionals, nurses, they're considered, in the United States, they're considered to be mandatory reporters, okay, of possible abuse. And I believe in Turkey also this is the case. So much so that even in the schools, teachers are also considered to be mandatory reporters for that. All right, so both teachers as well as nurses, okay, also in Turkey, they're considered to be mandatory reporters. They have to report if they suspect any abuse that's occurring to children. Surrogate decision making, all right. Now, children, they're considered to be legally incompetent, all right? Children are considered to be legally incompetent, okay? In most cases, they have to have a surrogate decision maker for important life decisions, including their healthcare decisions. So again, they can't make decisions for themselves. That's why mom and dad need to make decisions for them. Now, what is the standard of best interest? So the standard of best interest, it involves, again, the surrogate decision maker basing their decision on what they believe will give the most benefit and the least harm, or not even harm, but the least amount of burden to that child, okay? This is the standard of best interest. What about refusal of treatment? Now, parents, sometimes they refuse treatment for their children. Children themselves, again, in some cases, they may be deemed to have a decisional capacity to refuse treatment. And that could be based on the child's religious belief or, again, another reason. So, again, to some degree, yes, a child they may have a little bit of again, what they refer to as a decisional capacity. Now, state laws, again, depending on country laws, let's put it that way, they protect children from parental healthcare decisions that's based on religious belief or, again, other beliefs that could result in harm or, again, very high risk to that child. All right, so for example, let's say my religious I don't know, hocus pocus, Djibouti. Let's say that is my religion, hocus pocus baburi, or whatever I said. And I believe that every child needs to be branded on the forehead with a knife, a dirty knife. I don't know. All right. Now, what's that? That causes harm. It causes bleeding and again, risk of infection. So again, if my religious belief could cause harm to that child of what I want to do, then I can do that. Right. Or again, let's say the child is sick. The child gets very sick and the child needs antibiotics. And I say, oh, my religion forbids antibiotics. Well, guess what? If they don't get antibiotics, the child could die. So again, a state law would not allow that. My religious beliefs would be thrown away in that case. Or some country's law. They would not see that. They would not recognize that. Okay? All right. Now let's look at, I think we skipped a slide. There we go. All right, yeah. What about, what are the different age groups? All right, the age of adolescence. Three phases that characterize adolescent developmental processes. So again, these are different age groups. So when you look at adolescence, so first of all, again, anybody that's under the age of early adolescence, they will be considered a child. All right, so early adolescence, it starts at the age of 11. Right, this is early adolescence at the age of 11. Mid-adolescence, this starts at age 14. Okay, age 14, mid-adolescence. And late adolescence, it starts at age 18. Right, late adolescent goes from 18 all the way to the age of 21. All right, so 18 to 21-year-olds, adolescents. Mid-adolescence ranges from 14 to 18 or 14 to 17 for that matter. And then early adolescence, 11 to 13, right? All right, so health risk behaviors. All right, health risk behaviors are described as having a negative effect on people's health. That's what a health risk behavior is. Okay, these are behaviors that are described as having a negative effect on people's health. Now, adolescents that engage in a single risky behavior, they have a tendency to engage in at least another one. Okay, or more than one risky behavior, other risky behavior. All right, so what comes along with adolescence? So the age of adolescence, it brings overwhelming level of family decision-making issues and other health concerns. Because of that, complex healthcare ethical issues come up. All right. And when it comes to adolescent ethical issues, they're mostly focused on rights. So what's important to them? Now, so what's important to them? What's important to adolescents? Now, relationships, the relationships, that's key. Relationships are central to adolescence. Positive and negative relationship skills, again, these are learned within that family, and they continue with children into their adolescent stage of life. So what's the nurse's obligation? So nurses, they have an ethical obligation that provides competent care in addition to building positive relations that promote a much better patient outcome. So by practicing mindfulness and effective, key things here, guys. Mindfulness, nurses need to be mindful, as well as listening, effective listening. Nurses will end up gaining the respect of adolescents, the respect of young people, right? So it's very important. When you're looking at ethical dilemmas that involve prevention, so now we're talking about health risk messages, all right? So health risk messages, again, or fair appeals, all right? These are persuasive messages. And they fire up adolescents by outlining the negative consequences that occur if a certain action is taken. So again, it's kind of like fear tactics. That's what it is. It's not kind, it is. It's fear tactics. If you do this, that'll happen. So again, when you use it effectively, fear appeals, they can actually help target these populations, and it may empower them to make healthy choices and practices that allow them to go and carry out safe behaviors. However, if you use it incorrectly, these fear appeals, they can actually end up doing more harm than they can do good. All right, so, all right, that's all for this part, for this lecture. All right, let me stop this and then we'll open up to Q&A. All right, let's take a break for a few minutes and then we'll continue.